Here's a fact that will blow your mind. Less than 1% of early human history actually took place in caves. Despite what Hollywood and textbooks have taught us, the vast majority of our prehistoric ancestors never set foot in a cave, let alone lived in one. They were master architects of the open savanna, building ingenious shelters from grass, branches, and mud that could rival modern engineering. This isn't speculation, it's hard archaeological evidence that's been hiding in plain sight, waiting to overturn one of science's most persistent myths. Dawn breaks over the African savanna, painting the sky in hues of amber and gold. A small group of early humans stirs beneath the canopy of an ancient baobab tree. No limestone cliffs tower overhead. No protective cave mouths offer sanctuary from the elements. Yet these humans have thrived here for generations, creating ingenious shelters from nothing but what nature provides. The popular image of our prehistoric ancestors, fur-clad figures huddled in dark caves, has dominated public imagination for decades. But this deeply embedded stereotype conceals a far more remarkable truth. For the vast majority of human history, our species flourished without the sanctuary of caves. Recent archaeological discoveries are forcing us to completely reimagine how our ancestors lived and survived. The cave-dwelling narrative is perhaps one of archaeology's most persistent myths, explains Dr. Sarah Henderson, lead researcher at the Olduvai Gorge Archaeological Project. Suitable caves were incredibly rare, particularly in the African landscapes where our species evolved. What we're discovering instead is a story of remarkable innovation and adaptation. At Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, where some of our earliest ancestors lived 2 million years ago, researchers have uncovered extensive evidence of sophisticated human occupation in open landscapes. The site, spanning multiple geological beds, reveals a technological revolution that would define our species' future. The first constructed shelters in human history. The story begins with Homo habilis, our earliest tool-making ancestors, who faced a fundamental challenge that would become the catalyst for human innovation. In the open plains of East Africa, where natural shelter was scarce, they developed solutions that were both elegantly simple and revolutionary. Recent excavations at DK1 in Olduvai Gorge have revealed circular arrangements of stones dating back 8 million years, carefully planned foundations for temporary shelters. These weren't random scatter patterns, but deliberately constructed living spaces. The stones, some weighing over 30 pounds, had been transported from distances of up to 2 kilometers and arranged in oval patterns roughly 12 feet across. What's particularly fascinating, notes Dr. Henderson, is the evidence of repeated occupation. These weren't just one-time emergency shelters. Our ancestors returned to these sites season after season, improving and rebuilding their structures. Advanced imaging technology has revealed that these stone circles once anchored sophisticated windbreaks made from thorny acacia branches. The arrangement of post holes and stone supports suggests these early architects understood basic principles of structural stability and wind resistance. Knowledge that would have been crucial for survival in open landscapes. But the innovation didn't stop there. New findings from the AGS site in Bed Y of Olduvai Gorge, dated to 84 million years ago, have revealed something even more remarkable. Here, researchers have discovered evidence of what may be the world's first planned settlements. The site shows clear organization of living spaces, with distinct areas for different activities: sleeping, tool making, and food processing. What we're seeing here is the birth of domestic architecture, explains Dr. James Morton, a specialist in early human settlements. These weren't just shelters, they were homes. The careful arrangement of space shows that our ancestors were thinking about more than just protection from the elements. They were creating living spaces that facilitated social interaction and community activities. The discovery of charred acacia wood and bone fragments, arranged in precise patterns, suggests these early humans had mastered fire and were using it not just for warmth and cooking, but as a tool for social organization. The placement of hearths within these early settlements created natural gathering spaces, potentially facilitating the development of complex social behaviors and communication. Perhaps most intriguingly, recent analysis of soil samples from these sites has revealed traces of plant materials that were likely used for bedding and insulation. This suggests our ancestors weren't just surviving in these open landscapes. They were developing sophisticated solutions for comfort and well-being. As we continue to uncover evidence of these remarkable achievements, it becomes clear that the story of human shelter is far more complex and inspiring than the simple cave-dwelling narrative suggests. Our ancestors weren't waiting for nature to provide solutions. They were actively creating them, developing technologies and techniques that would lay the foundation for all subsequent human architecture. As our ancestors spread beyond the African savannas, they encountered environments that demanded increasingly sophisticated engineering solutions. Recent archaeological discoveries are revealing just how ingenious these prehistoric architects truly were, developing construction techniques that would challenge even modern survival experts. In the temperate forests of ancient Europe, early humans revolutionized shelter construction with an innovation that wouldn't be seen again until the medieval period: elevated living platforms. At Bilzingsleben in Germany, dating to approximately 400,000 years ago, researchers have uncovered compelling evidence of these remarkable structures. Using advanced microscopic analysis of preserved wooden artifacts, archaeologists have identified sophisticated notching and joining techniques that allowed our ancestors to create stable elevated platforms between trees. These weren't simple platforms, explains Dr. Elena Schmidt, wood technology specialist at the Max Planck Institute. The tool marks we've discovered show an understanding of structural engineering principles that we previously thought emerged much later in human history. They were selecting specific trees with natural branch configurations that could support substantial weight, then reinforcing these natural supports with manufactured cross-bracing. The discovery of specialized tools at these sites suggests these ancient builders had developed specific implements for different construction tasks: wedges for splitting wood, scrapers for removing bark, and picks for creating joints. The level of sophistication in these tools indicates that shelter construction was becoming a specialized skill, passed down through generations. But perhaps even more remarkable were the innovations that emerged in regions where trees were scarce. Recent excavations at Kostroma in Russia have revealed evidence of underground chambers that represent some of humanity's earliest experiments with subterranean architecture. Dating to approximately 800,000 years ago, these structures showcase an extraordinary understanding of soil mechanics and drainage systems. Using ground-penetrating radar and careful excavation, archaeologists have mapped these ancient underground homes in unprecedented detail. The chambers, measuring up to 6 feet deep and 10 feet across, were carefully engineered to prevent collapse. The walls were reinforced with a complex system of wooden supports, while the excavated earth was strategically piled around the perimeter to create effective windbreaks and water management systems. What's particularly impressive, notes Dr. Mikhail Petrov of the Russian Academy of Sciences, is the evidence of sophisticated ventilation systems. These early engineers understood the need for air circulation in underground spaces and developed ingenious solutions using angled air shafts. Coastal regions presented their own unique challenges, spurring another wave of architectural innovation. New findings from submerged sites along ancient coastlines have revealed how our ancestors adapted to life at the water's edge. At several locations along the Mediterranean coast, archaeologists have discovered evidence of innovative construction techniques, specifically designed to deal with tidal forces and storm surge. These coastal dwellings, dating back to 500,000 years ago, used a combination of stone foundations and flexible upper structures that could withstand powerful coastal winds while remaining relatively dry. The builders created raised platforms using locally available materials, shells, coral fragments, and beach rock compacted into stable foundations that would later influence the development of maritime architecture. Perhaps most remarkably, these early coastal engineers developed methods for treating construction materials to resist water damage. Analysis of preserved wooden elements shows evidence of charring and the application of natural resins, techniques still used by some indigenous peoples today to protect wooden structures from decay. In arid regions, our ancestors became masters of thermal management. New discoveries in the Arabian Peninsula have revealed sophisticated structures that maintained comfortable temperatures despite extreme desert conditions. These shelters, some dating back 400,000 years, used multiple layers of different materials, stone, earth, and plant matter, to create natural insulation. The thermal efficiency of these ancient structures is remarkable, explains Dr. Ahmad Al-Hassan, desert architecture specialist. By carefully selecting materials and understanding airflow patterns, they created living spaces that could maintain temperatures up to 20 degrees cooler than the outside environment. The engineering prowess of our prehistoric ancestors extended beyond mere shelter construction. They developed sophisticated water management systems, including channeled drainage around settlements and water storage solutions. At Terra Amata in France, 400,000-year-old sites show evidence of carefully planned drainage systems that protected living areas from both seasonal flooding and daily rainfall. These innovations weren't just practical solutions. They represented a fundamental shift in how early humans interacted with their environment. Rather than simply adapting to existing conditions, they were actively modifying their surroundings to create more favorable living conditions. This capacity for environmental engineering would become one of humanity's defining characteristics, setting us apart from other species and laying the groundwork for the development of civilization itself. The construction of prehistoric shelters wasn't just a technological achievement. It was a profound social revolution that helped shape human civilization as we know it today. New archaeological evidence is revealing how the process of building and maintaining these early homes fostered complex social organizations and knowledge transmission systems that would define our species. When we examine prehistoric building sites, we're not just looking at architectural remains, explains Dr. Maria Torres, specialist in prehistoric social systems. We're seeing evidence of sophisticated social cooperation and organization that was unprecedented in the natural world. Recent excavations at multiple sites across Africa and Eurasia have revealed that shelter construction was often a community-wide endeavor, requiring careful coordination among different groups. Analysis of tool marks and construction patterns suggests that different individuals specialized in specific tasks, from material gathering to structural assembly to final finishing work. At the Çatalhöyük site in Turkey, one of the earliest known settlements, researchers have uncovered evidence of standardized construction techniques that would have required organized training and apprenticeship systems. The perfectly uniform thickness of mud brick walls and consistent spacing of support posts indicate that these skills were being carefully taught and transmitted across generations. What's particularly fascinating is how this knowledge was preserved and passed down, notes Dr. James Chen, expert in prehistoric technology. We're looking at societies that existed before written language, yet they managed to maintain complex architectural knowledge over thousands of years. This required sophisticated systems of social learning and apprenticeship. Evidence from multiple sites suggests that shelter construction played a crucial role in developing human social hierarchies. The organization of work crews, allocation of resources, and planning of living spaces all required leadership and decision-making structures. These early management systems may have been the precursors to more complex social organizations. The social impact of these construction projects extended beyond the actual building process. Archaeological evidence shows that the layout of early settlements wasn't random, but carefully planned to facilitate social interaction. Common areas were deliberately created between shelters, serving as spaces for tool-making, food preparation, and social gatherings. These shared spaces were crucial for the development of human culture, explains Dr. Sarah Whitman, anthropological archaeologist. They weren't just gaps between buildings, they were purposefully designed social environments where knowledge could be shared, skills could be taught, and community bonds could be strengthened. The transmission of architectural knowledge appears to have followed distinct regional patterns, leading to the development of unique building traditions. Recent analysis of construction techniques from sites across Eurasia shows that different groups developed specialized solutions adapted to their local environments, creating some of the earliest examples of cultural differentiation. In coastal regions, communities developed sophisticated systems for teaching weather prediction and material preservation techniques. In forested areas, knowledge of tree selection and wood processing was carefully preserved and passed down. Desert dwelling groups maintained complex understanding of thermal management and water conservation. Perhaps most remarkably, evidence suggests that these early communities were already engaging in long-distance knowledge exchange. Similar construction techniques appearing at widely separated sites indicate that architectural innovations were being shared between groups, possibly through trade networks or during seasonal gatherings. We're finding that these prehistoric communities weren't isolated from each other, notes Dr. Chen. They were part of broader social networks through which knowledge and innovation could spread. This ability to share and build upon each other's discoveries was crucial for human technological development. The social organization required for shelter construction also appears to have influenced the development of language and symbolic communication. The need to coordinate complex building projects, teach specific techniques, and maintain architectural knowledge over generations would have placed new demands on human communication systems. Archaeological evidence from building sites shows the emergence of specialized toolkits that would have required specific terminology and instruction to use effectively. The standardization of construction techniques across large areas suggests the development of shared technical vocabularies and teaching methods. When we look at the complexity of these early shelters, we're not just seeing physical construction, explains Dr. Torres. We're seeing evidence of sophisticated social systems that allowed human communities to pool their knowledge, coordinate their efforts, and preserve their discoveries for future generations. These social innovations were just as important as the technical ones in driving human development. The legacy of prehistoric shelter construction continues to influence human society in profound and often surprising ways. From modern survival techniques to sustainable architecture, the innovations of our earliest ancestors remain remarkably relevant today. What's fascinating is how many of these ancient solutions are being rediscovered and applied to contemporary challenges, explains Dr. Robert Martinez, specialist in sustainable architecture. As we face growing environmental concerns, the elegant simplicity of prehistoric shelter design offers valuable lessons. Military survival programs worldwide have begun incorporating techniques first developed by our prehistoric ancestors. The U.S. Army Survival School now teaches shelter-building methods that closely mirror those used at sites like Olduvai Gorge. These ancient techniques, refined over millions of years of trial and error, prove remarkably effective even in modern contexts. What we're learning, notes survival expert Sarah Hawkins, is that our ancestors' solutions were often more sophisticated than we initially assumed. Their deep understanding of local materials and environmental conditions led to innovations that we're only now beginning to fully appreciate. Indigenous peoples around the world have maintained many of these ancient construction techniques, passing them down through generations. The dome-shaped structures of Arctic peoples, the elevated platforms of tropical forest dwellers, and the underground homes of desert peoples all trace their origins back to prehistoric innovations. Recent archaeological findings have revealed surprising connections between ancient shelter technology and modern architectural principles. The thermal management techniques discovered at prehistoric sites in the Arabian Peninsula, for instance, mirror principles now being applied in sustainable building design. We're seeing a growing interest in what we call biomimetic architecture, design that works with natural forces rather than against them, explains Dr. Martinez. This was exactly the approach our ancestors took, and their solutions were remarkably efficient. Climate change researchers are particularly interested in how prehistoric humans adapted their shelter designs to changing environmental conditions. Evidence from multiple archaeological sites shows how early communities modified their building techniques in response to climate fluctuations, offering potential insights for modern adaptation strategies. The modular construction systems developed at sites like Dmanisi in Georgia are particularly relevant to contemporary disaster relief efforts. The ability to quickly assemble standardized shelter components using minimal resources remains as valuable today as it was 2 million years ago. What's particularly relevant, notes Dr. Elena Petrova, specialist in disaster response architecture, is the emphasis on locally available materials and simple, repeatable construction techniques. These principles are crucial for effective emergency shelter deployment in crisis situations. The knowledge preservation systems developed by prehistoric communities also offer lessons for modern technology transfer. The methods they use to maintain and transmit complex construction knowledge across generations without written language demonstrate principles that remain relevant to modern apprenticeship and training programs. Perhaps most significantly, the social innovations that emerged from prehistoric shelter construction continue to influence human organization. The collaborative problem-solving approaches developed by our earliest ancestors laid the groundwork for modern project management and community planning. When we look at how prehistoric communities organize shelter construction, explains Dr. James Morton, we see the origins of many modern social institutions, from apprenticeship systems to urban planning principles. As we face growing challenges related to climate change, population growth, and resource scarcity, the innovations of our prehistoric ancestors offer both practical solutions and inspiration. Their ability to create effective shelter using minimal resources, work within environmental constraints, and develop sustainable solutions remains as relevant today as it was millions of years ago. The story of prehistoric shelter construction reminds us that human ingenuity isn't measured by technological sophistication, but by the ability to solve complex problems with simple, elegant solutions. As we look to the future, our ancestors' remarkable achievements continue to light the way forward.